We're live.
We're live. Good afternoon, everybody. Develop Your Mindset podcast here. Me, Varush, and Luis. We're back Saturday as usual. We got stuff we talk about. As you guys know, if you follow us, this is a Kabarsi jewelry company, and then we go through a lot of stuff, and we put together what we went through, the most interesting parts, and then we turn it into a podcast. And of course, please visit our website. We have all kinds of beautiful jewelry. See and let us know what you think. And please don't forget to leave comments down below because we like to hear. If you have something to say, we like to hear from you. And I think we're pretty much ready, right? We kind of going a little bit late, but we are ready. So Luis is gonna tell you guys.
It's good to be back. Welcome back to another episode. Here we are once again with another topic. Hopefully, you guys find it interesting and you guys take a lot of value from it, as always. And we're ready to start.
All right. So this whole week, I've been having a bunch of conversations with people. I've been going through a lot of emotions and everything. So I realized one thing stood out the most. It is basically, I'm going to say tough love. And what is tough love? We're going to talk about it a little bit here, and we're going to kind of like dive into different emotions. And this is gonna do more has to do with more with the mindset and how do you handle yourself and how do you see different perspectives and people habits and all kinds of stuff, because this is the thing I realized. I'm sure we got you guys all realizing what's going on, which is like the division, the hatred, and not loving, and just like it's the emotions are very high. And this is after effect of elections and everything, right? Still, this COVID thing is alive, and everyone has a different opinions about it. There are two strongest opinions about it, but there's like a bunch of other smaller ones. It's very confusing for people. Some people are running to get shots. Some people are against it, and that's another division there. There's all kinds, and it's causing a lot of unease in family, friendship, and dad, dad and daughter, and all kinds of different levels, And so we're gonna go through a bunch of levels where what is important, where we should focus on, and what we should kind of like, I don't know, ignoring is not a good word, but like we're gonna try to explain that, and what we should like continue going after, because man, like all these things are throwing people off really major way, and so we all have different views about it, and we're gonna talk about it. So we're gonna start. I'm gonna say the word tough love. Tough love is very misunderstood because like very unique, very different, very everyone has a different opinion about this, because tough is not a good positive way of coming towards things, but also it, like when you are running, doing something important, you have to be tough, because weak people, I don't know, maybe again that one didn't come out right. But weakness is not gonna last very very far when you're doing something long ways, like if you are creating something, you're learning something, you're dealing with people, and then that's the if you don't take it really seriously, if you're not tough enough, it's not gonna get you like tough skin also, like you have to have people are going to tell you a lot of stuff, because you're like, when I'm doing something where I'm like so focused on doing what I'm doing, that makes me look a little bit what is the word, like like I'm not changing my mind, I'm sticking to what I want to do. Stubborn. But if you ask me, I'm not a stubborn person. If you take me out of this environment, if you we go out have a lunch, I'm not a stubborn person. But it almost like to be a tough person and to make something come about, it it's like it's the environment too. It makes me like that, and I'm sure you guys go through a lot of stuff. The environment change a little bit. You become this other person, and then sometimes like we go home, we're like, what the fuck was I doing? Like I'm like I don't like myself, but the environment makes you do that. If you don't like that environment, maybe you need to get the hell out of there. But then again, then you have to introduce love into all these levels, because end of the day, love is strong and love is beautiful, and you have to cherish the moments and the days that you are working and doing stuff. And it's important to me, it's important to uh, um, insert love into the different levels that we're going to go down to. Sometimes I'm going to be explaining to you guys, sometimes to me it's like you don't have to uh, uh, come across with love, but like you have to come across tough, and then once you're done, then you can introduce the love part. But that's me, and we all do a little bit different. End of the day, we all very alike too. So um, yeah, humans are kind of designed the same way. We all take different roads to get there. But yeah, this is what I wanted to kind of like. I realized this week it's been pretty interesting, and I wanted to start with tough love. And I mean, I can go on and explain. I don't want to explain. I'm not a teacher here, but I just talked about my experience, what I see it's going on, and yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. But a few words more. Please, you guys need to understand that this is not about race. This is not about gender. This is not about anything like that. This is about human mindset, and this is why the show is called Developing Mindset. So we're going to talk about from that perspective, from that point of view, and Louise is going to take it from here.
Yeah. So I do like to teach, and I think the way you described it was a little bit like all over the place, man.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm gonna give a more of a structured definition, because I think tough love is excellent. And if you as an individual, you're on your journey, I think it can be very beneficial to your journey to be able to interact with self love. Tough love, and be able to use it in a way that grows you as a person. So here's the thing about tough love, and how you're supposed to integrate that into your strategy. So here's the thing. Like, first of all, you have to look at the source, the place that it's coming from. So usually tough love is given in a way to really give you sort of like a wake up call, like sort of like awaken you, kind of put you in a zone where you're more aware of what's going on, as opposed to more of the passive type of love, where it's like you know the person isn't being very straightforward with you. They may be sugarcoating stuff. They may be making it sound that it's not so much of a big deal. But when somebody's tough with you, they're more blunt with the delivery of that love. It's more direct. It could be more harsh, a little bit painful to some degree as well, because they're telling you a very honest and raw truth, as opposed to trying to like code it in something, or making it seem as though
Hmm.
it's
That's
something
what I was thinking about.
it's something nice, right? So, but the reason why it's important to see the source is because like, you have to be taking when you're being receptive to tough love, it's got to come from a person who usually it should be done with the intention that they love you, but at the same time they want you to become aware of something. They want you to grow. They actually mean well for you. So you have to look at the person and see if they actually do mean well for you, and if their delivery, they're actually trying to help you out, because you just don't want to be taking that type of toughness from somebody who isn't necessarily qualified to help you grow and expand. Like it would just sound very wrong of them to do something like that. So every time you're taking tough love, always understand that if it is a good source, if it's from somebody who maybe somebody's giving you tough love in the sense that maybe for your work, maybe you're a designer and maybe this other person is an experienced designer, and so they come and they tell you like, hey dude, your designs are just they're just not good, they're shit or whatever, like this isn't gonna go anywhere. You see, look at the mistakes here, this shouldn't be here, this shouldn't be there, this is just very, like, it's very off-putting. um that person may mean well for you because they're an experienced designer. They actually want you to be a good designer, so they're giving you tips in a form of tough love. There, they still care about you. They care enough about you so much that they want to tell you the truth right away, so that you do something about it. You go and make the necessary changes in your design so that they're much better and they actually help you grow and you actually get results. And so in that sense, I think it can be very beneficial that you respond well. Yes, sometimes it's not of our liking. Sometimes it that's why it's tough love. It can come off very like you just want to like push it away. You want to deny that it's there. You want to ignore it. You want to sometimes even fight back because you don't like what you're being told. But use it as a tool that can actually help you grow and expand as a person.
All right. So you said something, and then while you were saying, I was thinking exactly that. I wrote it down here so I don't forget. You said coding, like coming through like almost like a code. And then how about what can people do that they can decode that word, the words, and kind of like understand the meaning of.
You have there's more that's I meant the coding like when you're like covering something up, like you're coding it.
Okay, then let's okay, then talk to me about this. I what you explained was I understood what you were explaining, but how about the other side of the thing that you said, which is like decoding? Like if I'm being tough on you, how are you going to decode what I'm saying to understand what I'm trying to say instead of thinking it like pushing back?
Yeah, of course.
That's what I mean, decoding.
Of course. So I mean, at that point, I think there's a responsibility between the two people there. You as the one receiving that love. Like I said, you have to verify who it's coming from. Like, is this a person that's qualified to really like let's just say, like I said, like I use a designer example, like is like, are you like are they a qualified designer to actually come in and like really like talk about your work and have like that type of interaction with you, or are they not? Or like maybe they're just actually just trying to like mess with you, and like they actually don't wish the best for you, and they're trying to actually attack you in some way and like tell you that your stuff is bad and everything. But are they really qualified to really tell you those things? Like what do they know about that? Like,
so that's where the decoding is coming down.
So yeah. And then on the other side, the person actually giving the tough love, I think it's their responsibility to actually, like, if they want to actually help you out, they got to put in that effort to really look at your personality and see like how you are, and still be honest and blunt and tough about it, but also like calibrate your delivery in a way where they actually understand what you're trying to tell them, as opposed to just like I said, always trying to bring it back to logic, as opposed to keeping it very emotional, where things can get very heated.
Right.
So yeah.
Yeah, for sure. If you're going to decode something, I believe you shouldn't be emotional, because emotion takes over, and then you forget what exactly what you're thinking about doing or saying, and then you go back 5 hours later, you remember that was what was I doing? Like, because emotion is not easy to,
of course,
to decode something. Yeah. You kind of have to use your brain more than your heart at this point.
Yeah.
So let's go to the next, which is like be interesting. I said here, be interesting. When you are being tough, when you're saying something to somebody, you have to be interesting. How do you get interesting? You have to be interested in a lot of things, and then that you work on that, and then um, you be you. So when I'm being me, I'm being like a lot of the times I see people get interested of what I'm saying, what I'm doing. Nana, can you close the door, please? Thank you. So you have to understand that to in order to win somebody's attention, you have to do interesting things and you have to become interesting. So that's a quality that you have to work on it and then build it. It's like these things. I don't know. Can you read something about this? Is there any book or system where you read about how to become like whatever you're doing to become the best and you become interesting? You don't want to
Of
sound
course.
like
Yeah.
weird and just like you don't do or you don't know what you're saying, and like you're talking about cars, then you start talking about tires, like what the hell. Yes, car and tire. Or let's say you're talking about the house door, like
Of course.
the house door works very different than the car door. So you have to become knowledgeable, let's put it that way. And you have to read about your industry a lot. You have to learn your industry. You have to understand what you're saying, what you're doing, and become interesting. And then people would find that like that's a close, like almost closeness, right? So people become very what is the word? I know what to say here. They have to find you interesting. Again, I'm saying interesting because I'm like lack of words, but
Yeah.
you must work on this and then find your best version in whatever you're doing. Obviously, we'll work on finding our best version all the time, but um, then again, like whatever you if you are father, you're a dad, you have to become the best dad. If you are a race car driver, you have to become the best race car driver. And when you use your mouth, you say a lot of things. You have to find ways to say the stories a little bit better, and that's when you become interesting. So, anyways, I think that's pretty much it. We're gonna go down the line. Um,
Of course.
let's stop here. I'm gonna stop here.
So being interesting. So yeah, this is actually something that's pretty cool to talk about because especially for me because this is something I actually had to work on.
Yeah.
Years ago. I still work on it to this day, but it's something that definitely could be worked on. And so as opposed to before, because I would think that people would just naturally be born like with like an interesting way to deliver uh stories and knowledge and stuff like that, like people were just either born with it or you weren't. And so but then I learned that you can actually learn this. And so my first approach to this would be to first of all, know yourself. So know like find whatever your values are, find whatever your passions are, because those are like the most natural ways you're gonna actually sound interesting. Because once you find the things that you love to do, the topics that you find interesting, you will naturally start to talk about those things in a very interesting way because you yourself find them interesting. You're interested in what you're talking about. And so I would suggest start there because that's the most natural way to do it. And then from there on, you can start actually becoming more aware of how you're delivering things, becoming more aware of you yourself, how you're delivering your as far as your vocal pitch, your tonality, the pace at which you deliver, and also pay attention to the feedback that you receive from the other person. So How are they responding? Are you keeping their attention? Are they still making eye contact with you? Are they making facial expressions as you're delivering the message, giving you signals that they're actually comprehending what you're saying? Because who knows, you may be very interested in what you're saying, and you may be very knowledgeable, but the other person may not be knowledgeable at all. So if you start to drop like really complicated facts on them, you're going to lose them, because even if that person really wants to pay attention and they want to engage with you, if your style of delivery is very like, I'm going to deliver you all the facts, like here, 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 without acknowledging the other person, that maybe the other person's a total beginner, they have no idea what this is, or maybe the other person hates whatever you're talking to them about, the delivery is going to be very different. Because if they hate whatever you're interested in, you can't just go up to them and be interesting and somehow like try to like randomly try to like get them interested, because they hate it. So you first have to deal with that. You have to deal with the fact that they hate it. So you have to understand them first. Part of being an interesting person is actually to listen as well, because that's how you can engage the other person as well. You understand them, and people always like to be understood and heard. And so because you do that, you have some value, and at that point they're more willing to listen to you, because they feel like you understand them. And so I think that's part of it. And after you understand the mindset part of it, then of course you can get into things like like I was saying, the tonality. You can work on that. Those are like separate techniques, as far as like maybe raising your voice, or going up and down in your pitch. Maybe you're saying something more like more mysterious, or you change your voice to be more mysterious, or maybe something more exciting, and then you raise your pitch. Maybe it's something more like delicate, so maybe you slow down the pace, you talk slower, and stuff like that. You can do in your delivery, and that ultimately will affect the other person on the receiving end. But that's and of course, it depends on the situations that you find yourself in as well. Because it's different to be interesting than a let's just say you're out hanging out with your friends, or you're with your significant other, or you're at the workplace, or maybe you're doing public speaking. These are all very different scenarios, and you have to adjust your delivery accordingly, and of course adjust it according to your audience as well. And so yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, while I was listening to it, I just remember something where one of my friends told me to read this book, and I came to my books. Which one was it? I think he was referring to technique to even look like you are interesting or interested. Like CIA uses this technique, FBI uses this technique, where if they want to come through somebody, especially this book, I think is no, has no, his no, his, no, never, never split the difference. I believe this is the book. Never split the difference. So this book talks about stuff like this, and I downloaded it here, and my friend pretty much explained to me what the book is, but I'd never had the chance to listen to it. I think, in a nutshell, this book talks about if this guy was a person in FBI where there was a bank robbery, that would call him, and he'd get on the phone, and he'll talk to them, and then he sounds, and he uses this technique where he's like, I understand you, I know what's going on in your life, and then he gets them to like surrender and come out. So there is a technique where we can all learn more, and then we can all. I would looks like I need to listen to this book now, and yeah, pretty much.
I've read this book, and I've actually taken a course on like it's even deeper than the book itself. On the same author. He made a course on. It was like more cool. It was more like negotiation techniques. Under like very critical situations where.
Yeah, so there's a lot out there, guys. Like, if you want to become whatever you want to become, you wish to become, like, you need to understand that field, and you have to learn about that, and you have to spend time, and then you become interesting, right? Like, when you know what you're saying is true and right, and you know 10, and you say one, and somebody understands you. Jesus, you have nine more to come back and back up you whatever you said, and
Yeah.
so that's pretty much it lies into education, and yeah. So next is, like, do not be annoying. Yeah, if you're annoying, people don't want to hang around with you. If you want to do something amazing, and no one's want to hang around with you, geez, like, you're on your own, basically,
Hmm.
you're like deserted in an island of let's say your name is Jack. You're deserted in an island of Jack. Like, and you can do so much, and then you're gonna run out of 24 hours. You're gonna run out of energy. You're gonna get hungry, and then how the hell are you gonna do something amazing? So do not be annoying. Don't be annoying. So people would wanna like call you and be interested in you and wanna hang around with you, and don't make people become emotional every second. Like, control your mouth, control your what you're saying. It's very, very powerful. Words have words are magic. You create magic with words. You can make people tick and get up and go and get energized, or you can with words you can make someone really fall apart and start crying in front of you and hate you for it. And so you have to, like, don't be annoying. Be nice and do everything right and good. So that's going to be um, catalyst of what you want to slowly start bringing intuition, and that's going to take time. Sometimes things takes time. uh, we know that. Okay, basically let's put it another way. Don't be annoying. Let's put it another way. Like, thought starts in mind, and whatever you think, that's what you become. And when you think of something and you want to do that thing, and you get annoyed because it's not getting done, or it's not starting soon enough, and you become annoyed, and then you start annoyed people. We have to understand that everything has its own cycle. Like, for instance, you put a seed in the ground, 3 months later, 90 days later, you get tomatoes. That's the cycle of that seed. The women get pregnant, and then it takes 230 days, 80 days, and that's the cycle. So you have to understand that there's a cycle after the thoughts, after the action. So you don't get annoyed, don't annoy people, and so you can get somewhere with your life, or with that whatever you're desiring. um, I kind of had this experience this week, actually, and that's why I put this here. And I realized that that's what happened, and then I went back and started thinking about how I said it, what I said, what happened, and then it was obvious. It was very clear that I was annoyed, and I was annoying people in front of me, and and I was hoping and wishing that I could work with these people, but um, how the heck are you gonna work with people that they just got annoyed, so we just have to become better version of ourselves, and, like, admit and just move on, and be better, so.
Hmm. I think being annoying, it really comes from a lack of empathy towards the other person
Mhm.
or the audience or whoever you're trying to deliver your message to when you're coming off annoying. So That's why I think it's very important that you genuinely when you're communicating with anybody, that you genuinely want to understand the other person as well, and you want to understand the place that they're currently in, and you do that from a place that's not, you don't intend to judge the other person, but instead you intend to help the other person with whatever your message is. So uh, like an instance that can become very annoying is when let's just say you're trying to help out the other person, right? So you're trying to give the other person advice, but when you give that other person advice, you give it from a place of only you understanding that advice. Like maybe that advice worked for you, and it makes sense for you, and because of that you think that the other person, it's going to make sense for the other person. And so what ends up happening is that you end up just advising this other person, you blast them with everything that you know, and you think that just because you're very smart and that you have all the advice, you have it in place, that the other person is just going to be like, wow, like, yeah, your advice is amazing, it's excellent, right? But chances are, like, if you don't understand the other person, you understand what's in their mind, how they see the world, and where they currently are at, you're gonna annoy the other person because the other person doesn't feel understood. They don't feel like, okay, like this person doesn't exactly understand where I am. They don't understand what I'm going through. And even if you do say like, oh, I understand what you're going through, that's not enough. You actually have to go in there and ask questions, and so that the other person has proof that you actually understand them. Like,
Mm,
because if you come up to me, you start giving me advice, but you haven't even asked me questions, you don't understand my story, then how can I trust you that you know what I've been through?
that's
You just can't.
that's one before annoying.
And
You're
so
being annoying now.
and
You know?
so and so like if I don't have that reassurance that you understand what I'm going through, you really understand, and not only that, but that you're not judging me, then I just can't find your message very appealing. If anything, I'll find it annoying.
Mhm.
Or if you just it doesn't have to be advice, it can be anything else that you're trying to convey to this other person. If you don't understand like the situation they're in, maybe you just want to share a story, right? You just want to share like something that happened to you in the day, and you come up to this person and you start telling them your story. Maybe this person was busy doing something, and you just come up to them and you start telling them your story. That can be pretty annoying too, because you don't understand, like, okay, like the person was busy doing something, and you just came up to them, you're like, and you start sharing your story.
True.
That comes off very like not only annoying but very like egoistic,
Fun.
narcissistic,
Yeah.
because at that point you only care about yourself and expressing yourself, and you don't care about this other person who might be involved in, maybe they're writing something, and so they need to focus on what they're doing, and you come and you just interrupt their flow, or you do something around
Just
those
cut
lines.
off.
There's no empathy there for that other person and what they're doing. So you have to have that empathy and that understanding for the other person. If not, it's very easy to just come off very annoying. But
Yeah, I
yeah.
was thinking condescending. You're just gonna
Hmm.
sound like, yeah. Yeah, very true. Let's move to the next, which is stop ignoring, be strong. Now, the word strong came to my mind because, and then I put the stop ignoring, be strong, because a lot of us, we have weaknesses that we don't work on it, and we just ignore it. And we just like be like, tomorrow, tomorrow. I understand, but um, I'll deal with it tomorrow. And then when that same scenario occurs, it again takes you to the same place, which is like, I don't know, I don't know. I don't know means something else. It means when you say I don't know, it means there's a weakness there, that you didn't do uh, your work to learn about that, and you're ignoring that part of your uh, journey or your life. And we all have to need to recognize our weaknesses. Every minute I do, if you can't keep up with yourself, you need to have a journal, start writing things down. When you go back and read it, you're going to see where you're strong, where you're weak, where you misspoke or whatever happened. That's a good way of keeping up with yourself and learning you, because we all operate on sets of habits, and those habits always going to take us the same path. It doesn't matter if the characters are changed, if it's your father or your friend or you're talking to a stranger, it's always going to take you to the same place because you're operating on sets of habits, and that becomes your paradigm. You're living in this world of paradigm where you are comfortable in. That's because you understand that world, and then that's how you talk, you do stuff, you eat, you sit, you when you're eating, you do certain things, when you talking, you do certain things, when you're taking shower, you use your right hand or maybe your left hand, and you just like always doing the same thing, like, and you are on autopilot, because of your habits. And you can actually change those habits, but you need to be strong. You cannot be weak. You cannot fall apart and cry and get upset and start protecting yourself by telling stories. And you need to knock it off and then get out of your stories and then take this shit seriously, because we're not going to live 300 years old. This is it. You're going to either go for it or go broke. Uh, Not necessarily with money, but with emotionally, with you know, um, intellectually, you go broke, and you don't become the best version of you. You'll stop growing. So you need to knock it off, become strong, find strength somewhere, and then take. Can I say just fucking do it? Like, don't wait for anybody to come push you and tell you like what you need to do, because no one understands you better than you. You just do it, and then you see if it's not working, just change it. Be strong about it, and don't ignore it. And pretty much, I experienced this week and today. And I guess when I experienced this, I was a little bit tough, but I had to fix afterwards. I had to fix it, which is we're gonna go down the line. We're gonna talk about that, how I did it, what you need to do, what human mind needs to do, because we need to basically live and survive and thrive and become uh, the best of us. And that takes some skills sets, and you have to learn how to use your skills to become better. So yeah, don't I mean, if let me go before I finish. Let me say habits. I would love you to talk about habits too, because this is such an important thing here. Being weak is like you're settling down with your old habits, and you're ignoring to make them better, become better. Yeah. So, and don't be afraid of changing habits. Like, it's such an important point. Like, people see me 5 years ago, they haven't seen me 7 years ago, they haven't seen me whatever years. They see me, they're like, wow, you're changed. Of course I'm changed. Like, what the hell? I think I'm better, I hope. And I constantly work on myself nonstop, because I don't want to be stuck with when the times are changing, when people are changing around me, when the goals are changing, things are shifting. I need to be very open to change, and I need to be strong about it too. It's not easy to change yourself, but it's very durable. A lot of people do it, and that's how we become who we become.
Yeah. So stop ignoring and be strong. So yeah, we can talk about like ignorance. Like I think being ignorant in of itself. Puts you in a place where you're not being proactive about your own life. You're not being like active. You're not being conscious about, the stuff that you're doing with your life, which ultimately makes you a weak person, because you're more, vulnerable to get dragged into things that you may not like, or get pulled into ideas and pendulums and stuff like that that are not necessarily aligned with who you are at your core. So it's very dangerous to live a life where you're passive and you're not necessarily taking control of it, because
Mhm.
you're just gonna get pulled, left and right, and you're just not gonna have any purpose. Uh,
Without knowing.
and so that in of itself just makes you a weak person ultimately, and so that's not what you want. And yes, habits, in of themselves, you'll start developing habits around that mindset, that lifestyle, and so pretty much these habits will keep you trapped in there, because you just don't have you're just not proactively doing anything to combat or to go against these habits, and start taking control of your life. So really, to become a stronger individual, or just a strong individual, in the end, it's important that you start to be more proactive with your life, start being more active, be more conscious, be more self-aware of what you're doing. And that comes down to pretty much everything, everything that you do in life, everything from like the purpose that you ultimately have, whatever it is that you want to achieve. And I mean, that could be whatever it is that you want. That's really up to you, but have something that you're going after, like as some sort of vision that inspires you,
Mhm.
have something, that you're going after, and then set a few goals that are going to help you achieve that vision. And so do that, and of course align your lifestyle with that as well. So you have certain goals that you're trying to achieve. Well, then you got to develop certain habits around that as well, so that it makes the whole journey much more congruent. So maybe if I don't know, whatever it is that you want to do, let's just say, I don't know, for example, uh
Podcast
what can we do? Yeah, maybe you want to, yeah.
start.
Maybe that's what you want to do. You want to build a very successful podcast on YouTube, and so that's the ultimate vision. That you become like maybe the leading podcast in a certain industry. Maybe you want to have the best podcast in, I don't know, maybe whatever we could do,
Cars,
something like
whatever.
this. Or you could do cars. Yeah, maybe you want to be the leading podcast in cars. You want the podcast that anybody who wants to learn about cars and that industry, you want to be the number one podcast that people go to, and that trust. And so that's a big deal there. So
Mhm.
you gotta set your goals. You gotta, you know, you know, obviously get the knowledge, start the podcast, and there's goals such as like, getting equipment, getting good content out there. Maybe you have to get guests to come in. Yeah, the format, the style of the podcast has to resonate with people who like cars, stuff like that. And so there's a lot of goals in between, and then there's obviously, there's the habits too. So maybe you develop a habit for studying the industry. Maybe every single day you put 1 2 hours into actually learning about cars and learning like what's going on, what's new, what new technologies are coming out for those cars. And or maybe you learn things about the history, things, how things started back then, and stuff like that. Maybe the other, you have habits of practicing how to be better on podcasts. Maybe your delivery, the way you talk on the podcast, you practice very often on how to deliver that better. Things like, who knows, maybe you put in habits of health, and so that your voice is better. You improve your energy in the podcast is much higher. you know all of those things can contribute to making that podcast much better. Maybe you practice bringing in guests, and you practice how the dynamic works when you have somebody else with you there, and so you get to practice with that. And so there's a lot of things, but that will make you a much more stronger person, because now you have a goal, now you have purpose, now you know exactly what you want out of life. And so it's much harder for people now to start dragging you into things, because
Right.
you know that I want to accomplish this, I want the majority of my time to go to this, I want to build a successful podcast. That means a lot to me. You can easily now well, it may not be easy, but you can now start seeing the places where you can say no to this person, no to that, and because you know exactly what you're doing, and so that makes you a much more stronger person.
Awesome. That was really good. 3 points in there, very solid. Hope you guys are getting this, and then please leave comment down below. We'd love to hear from you. What do you think about all this? And then we're gonna continue down the line. We have one, two, three more, which is create will to win. So today, definitely, I realized that that's pretty much the will is missing. You know, you have to have a will to do, to get up in the morning. How do you get up in the morning? You have to figure out what time you need to get up to start your day. Why? You have to understand, you have to develop the will to live, to survive, to thrive, whatever it takes. I see that will is missing sometimes from the thoughts, from your habits. Do you have some habits that they're sleeping habits? You have to create the will to activate them. You know, if you don't, you are going to find yourself into depression, meaning you're depressed. You're not inflated. You're deflated. You are stuck in being in deep thoughts, and you can get out of it, and you can find the will to get out of it. You cannot become proactive, like really, like create something amazing. Like, guys, again, it's one of my things that I learned to say, because I find myself coming to this junction all the time, because I say we're not going to live 300 years old, because again, this junction here, either you're going to choose to stay deep depression, or you're going to inflate and find the will to get up and go make something special of your time being here on this earth. I think it's a special thing, because not a lot of, in my opinion, there's not a lot of souls on the earth. That means we are special, especially being here at the same time. Forget the age, because the earth age is like billions of years old. We live like 70, 80 years. Just the sheer of accidentally being here, these souls together here, forget the age, is unbelievable. I think that's very special. So find your will, do your thing, and then become special in it. And don't stay down low. Don't talk negative. Don't think negative. Meaning degrading yourself or degrading somebody, or you're talking down to yourself, and just get out of your I'm not going to say anything negative. Get out of there, and find your will to thrive and become amazing. Because if you don't, maybe somebody else will take your idea and become amazing. So again, like, if you have ideas, if you have wish, dreams, just go at it. Don't worry. If you don't make it, it's okay. If you make it, you kicked ass, and you're going to have an amazing life. So, yeah.
Yeah, so I think there's definitely a big importance in creating the will to win, because uh, and this has to come from you. It has to be something that's genuine to you, because there's many reasons why you would want to win in life. We can give you a ton of them, but obviously you have to really find the ones that resonate with you, that are personal with who you are as a person, to your core, and maximize those. Have them, write them down, or whatever it takes for you to remind yourself every single day in the morning that, okay, these are my reasons why I want to go out there and just kill it. I want to do and perform my best. But also, I think it's important to keep in mind that your will to win. And just because you have strong enough reasons, this doesn't mean that you're just going to have a much easier path in your journey here. You have to be able to embrace and accept the fact that you're going to fail. gonna fail left and right. Some days this is gonna be really, really crucial. You may fail like 5 6 times in one day, and so you have to be able to just embrace that and accept it. And yes,
Not easy.
it's the and it's yeah, it's not easy. It's not gonna feel good,
Yeah.
but you have to embrace it and continue taking action anyway. And sometimes your action might be affected because of all these failures. You're gonna take action emotionally, and so because of that, your action is gonna it's not gonna be as productive, but you still have to take it anyway because
Right.
the action is still necessary. And for sure, to avoid any sort of falling into any spiral of depression, it's important that you still continue to take action regardless of the failure, because some failures are really out of your control because you're really just doing your best, and it's not like you can 100% control every single outcome from your actions. You can only do so much to elevate the chances that you'll succeed, but that's all you can really do. You can increase your percentage that you're gonna succeed, but you can't just control the outcome and be like, okay, I can do certain things so that I succeed 100% of the time. It's just not something that you can do. So obviously control what you can. So control your actions. Obviously, if you want to avoid failing too much, obviously, educate yourself and put in the hours of practice and do what you have to do. Go and take lessons, take courses, get a coach. These things can increase your success rate. And so, but other than that, that's what you can control, to take action and get help. But other than that, you will fail here and there. But you have to have those reasons that will to really go out there and just focus on the bigger picture here, focus on the end goal instead of necessarily focusing.
Coco mentioned
instead
you
of
can take it, but
What's that?
instead of focusing necessarily on the little failures that you're going to encounter along your journey. Always focus on the bigger aspect, on the bigger vision of what you're going after, the big picture. The big massive impact that you want to make in a certain industry or in the world or whatever your impact is. Focus on your impact and focus on the reasons why your impact matters to you.
right.
And there's no right or wrong there as far as your reasons why. You just have to have reasons that matter to you, and that's enough. It doesn't matter if those reasons matter to everybody else. Who cares? As long as they matter to you and your impact is meaningful to you, that's all that matters. Focus on that. Take action. Action is very important. If you don't take action, it's very easy to just fall into depression and start going into that downward spiral because
That's what I was thinking
you
about.
start.
I was thinking about the word failure, and then I was thinking about if you don't take action, you are failing.
Mhm.
You can talk about that because it's such important.
Yeah, because you're pretty much. Is the word that Varus doesn't like, but essentially you're becoming a victim of your circumstances because you're not taking action. You're just allowing the circumstances to pretty much dictate your proactiveness to take action. So you don't want to do that. You want to proactively control what you can, and you can control your actions. You can control how you respond to certain things. You can't necessarily, like I said, control the outcome. You can't control like certain circumstances. You just cannot control.
You're
gonna fail. People are gonna hurt you, or something's gonna happen.
like
out of
COVID
nowhere.
happened for
Yeah.
us like a year last year.
So you can't.
How you can control that?
Yeah, so you cannot control that, but you can control how you react to it, and you can control the action that you take because of it. And that's what you have to do. You have to see what you can control and what you can't. What you can't, obviously, let it go. What you can control, do what you can. Take action. Anything, whatever it is, like it doesn't have to be the perfect action or the right action, but take something, do something. And then you can adjust afterwards, but action is necessary.
Yeah, to create the good habits and then create habits that are resilient and tough, and that's going to help you to do some of these things without even stressing and think without thinking, your behavior is built like that, and you're gonna go do it, and that's gonna help you to um, be in a use less energy to be where you need to be. So yeah, that's one other thing I guess it's important there. Um, let's move to the next, which is when you say something, be affirmed. Basically, don't be soft. Um, sometimes we forget to be firm. We don't mean what we say. Sometimes it doesn't go across how what we mean. If you feel something about something really strongly and with your all, that's what you want it to be, and especially if you're finding a success in something and you're finding the way to slowly get to the goal. I found myself trying to explain myself this week, and again, like earlier I said, I heard a lot of stories, and the stories are fine if you're having cocktail, but if you're being serious about something about life, stories are annoying. There's no stories, there's only action, and then you wait to receive the reaction back and see if that was the right move or right way to continue. So when you say something to a little kid, you cannot give them option. You have to be firm. If you trying to create something important, and you have a certain what do you call, like certain position, you have to be firm on what you're saying so others can kind of like follow you and not question what you're saying. So you have to create this what is it, whatever, like habit, or you have to create this personality where you, of course, earlier I said you have to know 10 say one thing, so make someone understand what you're saying, and then have 9 to back it up. You have to be in that position. But when you are in that position, you cannot hold back. You have to be firm, and then you have to push a little bit, be tough love. Remember, guys, like that's what we start talking about. Don't be soft, because you're not going to get anywhere. People will step all over you. People will take advantage of you. People will not listen to you, not take you seriously, and you cannot achieve anything, even though you are in the right path, and they're in the wrong path, and it won't work if you're not firm. You have to say, and you have to stop there, drop it, and then make sure people are around you, they're doing what they're supposed to do, whether it's your wife, your kid, your whatever is going on. You have to if you want to start something new, you have to be firm. You have to like say what you mean, and then that's it. You gotta, that's very important. And once you become to this point, I find people where after this point, I find that you can not control the situation, but also people will bend their wheel a little bit, and try to become friends with what you're saying and do it. They try, after all, we all want to succeed. When we say in our meaning, we say when it really makes sense to your mind, you have to you will be willing more to do, potentially. So that's something that I wanted to talk about, of being a firm. And I don't know. I guess I hope I was able to.
Yeah, totally. I mean, so when you're saying something, be affirmed. So I think when you're firm, when your delivery is very like, it's strong, I think it really provides a reassurance to the person you're talking to, that you're trustworthy, that you're somebody who knows what they're talking about, that you're someone who's at least confident in what they're saying. You actually, whether you have experience or not. Usually, when somebody talks in a way that's firm, it usually means that they have some sort of experience. They have some sort of education associated with what they're saying. So, in that sense, it makes that person a little bit more trustworthy, somebody that you would actually follow and listen to what they're saying and actually go and apply it. So, I think this works well if you're in a position of leadership where you have to lead people. Uh, this definitely has to be something that you have to learn how to do well, because if not, then the people in your team are just not going to be very, they won't respect you. They won't necessarily listen to you in a way where they'll listen and apply. They might listen to what you're saying. They might somehow remember what you're saying, but they won't, go and apply it, because, like I said, if you're not talking in a way that's firm, they don't trust you, and nobody will go and apply and do something if they don't trust the person. Obviously, if I don't trust you, then why would I even listen to you? Why would I want to, go and apply something that you're saying? Like, if I don't trust you, most likely if I go and I apply it, I'm gonna fail or something. Like, something bad's gonna happen. So it's important that if you do have the experience and you do have a track record to be giving advice in certain areas, or if you're a leader to somebody, like you were saying, maybe you're a maybe you're maybe you're a parent, maybe you're trying to educate your children, or you're a teacher at a school. Definitely it's important, because you are the leading role, and so you want your kids, or the students that you're teaching, to actually go and to listen to you and actually implement what you're saying. Because if you do have the track record, you do have the experience, then you are somebody that people need to listen to. Because the worst thing that can happen is that they don't listen to you, who you have the experience, and you don't deliver it with firmness, and then they don't take your word. Then there could be somebody else who can be very manipulative, who doesn't have the experience, who's never been through such a thing, but they understand this concept, and so they can manipulate people with techniques to make themselves sound like they do know what they're talking about. They do talk with firmness, and so that's the person they're gonna go and listen to, even though that person has no idea what they're talking about. And yeah, that person can lead a lot of other people down the wrong path, because they understand that concept of talking with firmness. So if you have the experience, if you have the knowledge and intelligence,
Yes.
and you actually mean good for people, I think this is your responsibility. This is something that you have to go and you have to learn this. This isn't something that should be optional. This is something that
Yeah.
that you must learn. Like, it should be like in your top priorities, as far as like things that you must learn to perform. Out in life. Even if you're not a leader, like, it's still important that you talk with firmness to the leader. That way, the leader understands you and listens to you and actually takes your word, because you may not be the leader of the group, but who knows, maybe you're the leader of a specific segment within, like, the company, so, like, or the group. You have a certain responsibility within the group, and you want to be a leader of that position, whatever it is that you're playing, maybe like a soccer game or something. Maybe you're not necessarily the head coach, but maybe your position is being a forward, so you want to be a leader in that position of being a forward, or you're playing defense. You want to be the leader in that defensive role. You want to understand it really well, and you want to be able to communicate with your coach, as far as like what's going on there. And so, yeah.
Awesome. Definitely, it's very important to be firm. And this, while you're talking, I remember first times that it became apparent to me being a firm is I used to watch a lot of TV back in the day, like maybe like I would say 18, 20 years ago. There was this show, Nanny something, that there's a family, they have a bunch of kids, and their kids are all over the place, and they would call this nanny. It was a show. and she would come and teach them how to um, uh, put their kids into bed in a certain time and wake them up certain time. They can eat certain time. They're not on the ground crying, we're yelling. The show is all about this. And then I learned that you know, with kids you have to be firm. When you firm with the kids, they have no choice to follow um, um, your order, right? So I don't know. Maybe we're all big kids here, so sometimes we get annoyed and we start crying and we want a candy or something in a whatever manner. But the moral of the story is you have to be firm. When it's bedtime, go to bed. If you don't learn this, you first of all, you're not going to be able to run a good family. If you especially want to have a bunch of kids, you're going to have kids with no manner, with no, they're no one's listening to you. It's going to be crazy family. It's going to be all over the place. And you have to study this and learn this and then create good qualities and be firm. And then people, the kids will listen to you, people will listen to you. Your life will be so much more colorful, definitely. So that was one of my first experience with this. Before that, I don't think I understood it so much. Yeah, it didn't make sense to me 100%. I took it very wrongly, actually, before that. So, with all this, it comes down to the last question, which is after develop your mindset, because I have to say that because we finished with that. After the dust settle, be loving, meaning love. Love is amazing. With love, you can move mountains, meaning you can move someone's character. You have to use love when you go through all these steps that we talked about. Like being tough. When you control somebody's that it's annoyed. When somebody is ignoring what you're saying, and then um, somebody's not using will to leave, will to get up, do something. They're, and then you have to be firm. After all these levels, you have to come to love. You have to give a little bit time, let the dust settle, and then it's your duty, your obligation to get back to that person, talk to them, and come to their level, and just tell them, like, listen, this is where I am, this is what I'm doing, this is why I'm doing this. I need you to understand. I don't hate you, I love you. That's why you're in my life. That's why I care about you. That's why I was telling you all these things. If I didn't care, I would have just walked away, not even give a shit about it. Because you care, because you love that person, it's your duty and obligation to get back to that person and come to their level. Talk to them one-on-one and understand each other. All this chaos, everything is happening all around us today. We can't do anything about it, but it's unfortunate. Personally, I turn off my cable. I don't watch TV. I don't listen to news. I don't get into bad pendulums. I don't fall into bad energies. I control my mind, my mindset. I read a lot. I educate myself constantly. Whatever trouble happens in front of me, I want to learn what happened, and I will find a way to educate myself about that. I read a book. I listen to podcasts. I listen to people that they're older. They went through it. They understand this. They know how to explain this. They are teachers, and I listen to them. I learn from them. Use love. Love is powerful. Love is amazing, and it's magical, and it will fix a lot of things. It will fix most likely everything, if properly uh, used and the right place. You can touch someone's heart with love, and they will um, bend their will, and they would listen to you, and they will find a way to coincide. And don't forget about love, because we can get angry, we can get upset, we can say everything, anything, but in the end, you have to come back to love. And yeah, with that, I'm gonna close, and I wish you guys find love and happiness.
I don't know about that, man. So
We need love, man. In this world, in this earth, these days especially, crazy times.
So yeah, I mean, for sure, I think love is important, and yeah, like you said, I think definitely when it's inserted and executed in the right place, it's given in the right place, right time. I think love can be very powerful. Um, but yeah, I think love is something it really has to do more like uh, with selflessness. Really like when it's sincere, when it's honest, when it's coming from a place that you genuinely want to give that love to the other person without really using it as a tool or anything like that, but more like you actually care about the person enough to give them love. I think it's definitely powerful in that sense. But other than that, I mean, I don't think it should either be used as a replacement or as a way to avoid uh, going deep into with somebody as far as like addressing some sort of problem. Like I don't think you should just tell the other person like, oh, like I love you, this that, while on the other hand you've been like wronging this person like in so many other ways. Like maybe there's a problem with communication and you can't just fix that communication problem with love. I mean, you have to actually go in there and talk about the logistical part of it. Like what's going on, like why are you like getting angry at the stuff that I'm saying or something like that, or like maybe maybe I'm mental as far as like the way I communicate with this person. I've been hurting this person in ways that I can't even like conceive, and so I can't just tell this person, "Oh, I love you," but then I go and I judge this person like for every little thing that they're doing. Like, hey, what you're doing there? That's why would you do such a thing? Like, aren't you like more aware? Like like you should be reading books or you should be studying instead of wasting your time doing this. Like, what is wrong with you? Like, like like talking to somebody like that, and then just telling them like, oh, I love you, just remember I love you, like after you did all that, like it's just not necessarily, I think, the best approach. I mean, sure, you can tell this person I love you, but then be like, okay, I'm gonna stop doing like the whole judgmental thing. Like, maybe that's wrong with me. I shouldn't be judging you this way. Like, I do love you, and like, or explain to them why you're doing it. Like, I'm judging you because of this. Like I just feel like what you're doing is gonna lead you down the wrong path. I really care about you. That's why I'm just like pointing this out. Maybe you can say this is my way of giving you tough love, by actually pointing out the things that could potentially be destroying your future down the line. Yes, these things might feel good right now, watching TV, your shows, uh, not really having a schedule and stuff like that. But down the line, this could potentially be this. And so, yeah, that's pretty much. But
Awesome.
love is awesome. It's powerful. It's good. Yeah.
I'm glad you talked about that, because I definitely don't want you guys to think that you can solve everything with love. That's not what it's about. Remember, we talked about a lot of stuff in the beginning. You get into arguments, you get into pushing your mindset, your being a firm, and you're like, but then you have to come back and bring the balance. Um, you have to find a balance. You can't be one mind sided one-sided mind. How do you say this?
um,
So you can you have to find the balance. You can't be too heavy this end or that end. My thing is like, um, after you've done everything, after you said whatever you had to say, you cannot leave it like the way you left it, because a lot of the times what happens is those people can start getting resentment over that kind of conversation, or you know, a lot of things go to their across their mind, as we all, our minds will work alike. Same thing happens to me too. So it's just that when you finish, when that's why I say here the question goes, after the dust settle, be loving. So after you said whatever you said, you finish everything, and the dust settle. It could be, you don't have to wait 5 days though. You have to wait a little bit, and then you have to come back with, please understand me. This is what I meant, and I love you, and then this is why I said it. Otherwise, I wouldn't even open my mouth. That's something like that. So don't understand this. What Luis was explaining is like a lot of misunderstanding part of it. So yeah, please understand. This is not the first mean. This is the last means of coming about something that you are trying to put out there. Like you're passionate about or something. So definitely, love is important, but love is not the first initial. How do you say, hippies, or like religion talks about love and everything.
Yeah.
We misinterpret sometimes where we gonna use the love, and so that's, be careful with that. Don't overuse it. Don't use it from the beginning. I love you, that's why I'm doing this. That you gotta
Yeah.
you gotta go through the steps and the quirks and misunderstandings.
Yeah, of course. And yeah, I mean, yeah, you can't just be like hurting someone and be like, I love you, man.
You have a knife, you fucking like, I love you, bro.
I'm messing you up, because of that.
That's crazy. Yeah, you gotta know these
Yeah,
things.
of course, yeah.
Education is good. Hopefully, Develop Your Mindset podcast kind of like put this out there for you guys. We've talked about a bunch of things that we experience here. We go through. I know, as usual, like we all human. We all have the same kind of. We built the same, and then we all go through the same habits, loops, and we do same things. And yeah, for sure. So tough love. Use it. Make sure you say what you have to say, but don't leave it there. That's not cool.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. Last thing I would say would be like, as far as like love goes, like don't use it as a way to like please people.
Yeah.
I think sometimes you do have to stand your ground, and I think that's something that a lot of people like to like side on the side of love, because it's more safe, it's more comforting.
Right.
Like just say I love you, man, like whatever. They try to avoid the confrontation.
Right.
But sometimes you do have to stand your ground. You do have to come off more as like a hard person, or like you might end up being like the villain of the whole thing, or like the bad guy. But sometimes you have to stand your ground. If you're being disrespected, obviously, you're just gonna be like, I love you, man. Like, yeah, continue stepping all over me, man. Like, stop, like don't listen to my needs and shit. Like, you have to stand your ground sometimes. You have to be rough and stand your ground, potentially coming off a little mean, but
Yeah.
you have to, you also have to pay attention to your own self and your needs and what you're after and stuff like that. So.
Yeah, what you just said, you just reminded me of something. Dan Penna, right? We watched this guy. He's an old man, and he has certain mindset, and his mindset is like fear works. That's what he says, right?
Yeah.
Obviously, fear works. What we said up there, being affirmed, and maybe you're inserting a fear on that child or on that whatever. Fear works. Love doesn't work. That's what he says, right? If it worked, you wouldn't be broke and no money in your bank account. That's what he says. Now, obviously, money we can measure, but we cannot measure knowledge. We cannot measure what you achieve because there's no numbers. And
For
so,
sure.
but what I'm trying to say is what we're trying to explain here. All this this show is like love is the last thing you say. You can probably be use you have to probably use the first word we started with, tough love. You'll be like, this is why I'm doing this, because I love doing this and I love you, and then I something like that. So don't forget the steps. Fear definitely works, but don't forget the love part, and
sure.
use it in a right way, for sure. Yeah. I think this we we explained ourselves pretty well with and remember, guys, we love you, and we love this show, and we want this show to become something good, something where people can come and get right mindsets, and we only want to put all the good stuff out there with what we go through, and we love you. And I think I'm gonna finish my week with this. Thank you so much, and don't forget to subscribe, to do all the YouTube stuff and likes and everything. Appreciate it, guys. Thank you.
For sure. Yeah, thank you very much for being here. I hope you guys learned a lot from today's podcast. They go pretty long. We did explain a lot of things, and so yeah, it'll be worth it. Maybe if you go rewatch some of the parts, then you can take a lot of value from that. But yeah, of course, there's going to be links down below so you guys can follow us on social media. There will be links to our books as well, primarily our book, the 10 Stages to Skill Mastery. If you want to download that, there will be a link down below so you guys can download the PDF file. Or if you want to listen to the audiobook version, there will be a link for it as well down there. And so, other than that, thank you very much for watching, and we hope to see you in the next episode.
Thank you.